Have you ever wondered what your great 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 grandmother looked like? What about the career of the grandfather whom you've never met? Every family has history, every family has stories, and every family has lore. Join us as we dissect our family trees to find the spookiest, most inspirational, and downright crazy stories that our ancestors experienced. This is Who Are You? Curious Stories of Family Lore. I'm Wietze.
And I'm Sam Ivy. And this is introduction to episode 1. I think I said that backwards, but it's who are we?
Perfect. You know what? Perfect. That is who we are right there.
Yeah.
So, who needs instruments when we have mouths?
Exactly. Pitch Perfect taught us that.
Which Brad right now is currently he's working on our jingle using
Okay.
it's called a Korg Vocaster or Vocaster vocoder or something. And literally what he does is he puts headphones on and he plays, it's like a keyboard,
Yeah.
but then he plays a note and he adjusts all these dials and all these notches down to like crazy, I don't even understand. And he makes these sounds that sound like an old out of tune gramophone from a distance with like not an echo but like this eerie kind of bend in it.
Okay.
He's like what do you think of this? He worked on it for 2 hours to
Dude.
get it right, and then he saved it to the device, and now he has to record it. But I'm telling you,
It's gonna be beautiful. I'm excited.
the amount of effort that he's putting into doing it, you listeners, you heard it at the start of this episode. What do you think? That's my beautiful partner boyfriend
Yes.
Brad.
Thank
Whatever.
you, Brad Tholomew.
Brad Tholomew. That's not his name, but we're gonna go with it. Brad Tholomew created our jingle.
I mean, wasn't that
So,
one of our teachers at school?
oh my god, it was. Wow. Brad Bartholomew, shout out. You were pretty cool. Hopefully you're doing good. We wanted to talk a little bit, episode 1, about why are we doing this? Why are we here? Who are we? Why do you care? So I will give maybe a little bit of background on me, and then you can go ahead and give some background on you. And maybe like we'll discuss our names.
Yeah,
So
let's go.
Wietze is a nickname that my great great grandmother used to be called by my great great grandfather Jesse. And this is all word of mouth. It was only ever spoken. I don't know how it's spelled. So Wietze, we believe it's either Dutch or Welsh origin or Danish even. So there's kind of like some confusion. So if anybody listening knows, just by hearing Wietze, what we think it meant, because he would call her that as like a term of endearment. He'd be like, my Wietze, like my lover who is kind of also a pain in my butt, is how it was explained to me. So my grandma Doris, who hopefully will be on a future episode of this,
Most definitely
told me that when I was a kid, like said that Wietze was a cute nickname that a lot of people in our family have used, and her family, so therefore mine. So that's why I'm going by Wietze as an homage to, what we're doing here.
Heck yeah, dude.
Sam and I met in 2015 when we were attending the Art Institute of Denver, of
Shout out
Colorado in Denver.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Shout out Denver. Shout out Colorado. What up, peeps?
Yeah. She needed a camera. We were in the photography program, so I had an extra camera from my other friend who gave me a camera to go to school, and then I ended up getting a different camera. So I was like, oh my God, I have an extra camera, which is crazy.
And guys, I was like 17, so I was a baby. Like, I was like a newborn baby giraffe trying to figure out how to walk. And for real, if it wasn't for this woman right here, I would not have been able to survive. or I think function. I would have been a hermit staying in my apartment the whole time, scared.
Well, because you were out in Colorado, Denver, living with your aunt
Yep.
or cousin, aunt,
Yeah. Yeah.
aunt,
Yeah.
and you came out from Maryland. So you graduated high school in June, moved out to Denver
In
in
September.
September, and then we started school in October. Meanwhile, I'm an Air Force veteran, so I did 6 years in the Air Force, got out, and then decided I didn't want to be a soldier. I didn't want to be an airman. I wanted to be an artist. And so I found myself at the Art Institute of Denver in December of 2015 in the same class, and we immediately just became best friends. So
Yep.
since then, we've shared our life stories with each other as best friends do, and that has kind of started this want for a podcast where we're like, holy crap, we come from crazy families and we need to talk about it. What really sparked it for me, wanting to start this podcast. Obviously, I don't want to start with anybody else but my best friend, because we are best friends. We're going to be best friends forever.
This is our 10
Uh,
year.
this is our 10th anniversary. So on the 10th anniversary of our friendship, we're like, you know what? Let's just start a podcast. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And she came up with the name, Who Are You? Do you want to explain like why you thought of that, and then I'll explain the tagline?
Well, honestly, it kind of like ties into like how we met. Like the first time we met, I mean, it's Colorado people, we all do it out in Colorado, So being able to experience
Yeah.
that first with each other and stuff, and transition to like we watch Alice in Wonderland so much out there, and like we have both grown and evolved in like a metamorphosis that like I feel like both of us relate heavy to the caterpillar. So all I kept thinking of was that scene in Alice where he's literally smoking on that hookah, and he's just, Alice is like, I'm Alice, I'm me. He's like, no, who are you? And I ask myself that question, constantly thinking of like, when you hear all the stories and, past relatives that have gone that can't tell them anymore, and you're finding out all of these like, Pandora's boxes that are getting opened. It's like, well, damn, like, who really am I? Like, who am I? What are the stories and the history that made me?
I love that so much. Yes. What are the stories and the history that made me? That is perfect. And that summarizes our want to do this podcast. So, on that note, what are we? Who are we? What made me? I began researching my ancestry. I researched my family tree. And a conversation happened with my dad when I was in school for photography, researching family lineage and using film photography as a way to like connect to ancestors is kind of what I was doing. And so I was like, well, I need to know about my ancestors to connect with them. And so my dad made the comment that he didn't even know his grandma's name. Like, he didn't even know his grandma's name. He's like, I don't know my grandma. I don't know my grandpa. He's like, my dad died when I was 9 and I found him. And I was like,
yeah, dude, that is just traumatizing and wild.
When he said that, I was like, okay, well, I should start with the Franklin family line, because also our last name is Franklin. And I immediately wondered, I'm like, we don't know anything about our Franklin line. I wonder if we could be related to the Benjamin Franklin. And I was like,
insert patriotic music here.
And so the search began. I got to tell my dad, hey, Dad, your grandma's name is Della, and your grandpa's name is Glenn.
Aww.
And I got to see pictures of Della and Glenn when they were old, when they were young, when they went to their friend's wedding. Yeah. And so all of this started with the research of the Franklin line, but I traced it all the way back to 1300s, to Kent, England. And along the way, I did find that I am related to Benjamin Franklin. In fact, I am his first cousin, 10 times removed.
Okay. 10 seems to be the number this year.
Oh my God, that's crazy. So yeah, I'm his first cousin 10 times removed. We are related through Thomas Benjamin Franklin, who is the grandfather of Ben Franklin. Thomas had some children. One of those children was my ancestor. The other of which was James Franklin, actually, that runs in the family, that name. And then Josiah Franklin, who is Ben Franklin's father, was the
Okay.
son of Henry, who was our shared relative, making Ben Franklin my first cousin 10 times removed. There will be evidence of this somewhere on our social media,
Yeah.
probably when we figure it out. So that was pretty cool, figuring all of that out. And then it just made me want to learn more and learn more. And so since then, I've been delving in. And so that's a little bit about me. So, Sam, what inspires you or what makes you want to do the podcast? And
Well, honestly, like the driving force for it, or multiple things. Of course, being able to hang out with my best friend, catch up and do this with her, because this would be impossible without you, to be honest. I would have no idea where to start. I'm just good at talking. And the more, I do some extracurricular activities, the more talkative I can get. And like
that's
I said,
right.
with you, it's just effortless. So we can go on so many tangents. Like for the years we've known each other, we've had so many great, deep conversations that I wish we recorded, because damn.
Yeah.
So that's of course one of the reasons. Another reason that's a big force is, my grandmother has been passed away now, I think, for about 2 years going on three.
Mhm.
And there are just certain things, like, you don't truly appreciate people till they're gone. And there are certain things like stories and tales that you'll never get to hear again and not get to hear in their voice, especially. So, like, I want to have like a digital diary almost of like being able to have her stories, down somewhere to the best of my ability to tell them, and to have the opportunity to get all of my loved ones now before anything were to happen to them and have it for the future. Because the one thing
Yeah.
that I never want to do is forget their voice. Like, it's my thing. And that's part of the reason why I went for photography, is I never thought I was good in any other form of art, but I love the fact of how a photograph captured a moment and saved that moment forever.
Yeah.
Like, it's just wild to me. Plus, being that I work in the cannabis industry and that I work at a cannabis company currently for, it's my 6th year in the industry now, I do believe.
Hmm.
Um, Being there from like literally nothing, little like bud tender, young little me figuring out shit, and being able to see people with so many different medical conditions and come in and tell me their stories and tell me their history, and then watching my suggestions and my knowledge base grow with cannabis, and be actually like watch, it help a kid with seizures, watch it help people with cancer, things like that. It just felt really good. And it made me realize that at the end of the day, like, when we pass away, the only thing that is left of, us, or our, I can't think of the word that I'm trying to say, but there's that, it's not lineage, but like what's left of like what we left to this world, like what we gave.
The legacy.
Thank you. Like legacy. Like what's
Yeah.
left of our legacy is the stories we have to tell. And at the end of the day, when there's no one there to tell them, they fade. So why not capture those in time? And that was part of the reason why I wanted to do it.
Perfect. That's beautiful. And that's same. And I think that's why we align, because my grandma right now is 97 years old. And I've been doing
Congrats, grandma,
research and
by the way. That's a fucking good job. Ooh, good to know
yeah,
it's on your side.
she's 97. Her mom lived to be 96, so she outlived her mom. Um, you know, she's the one. So my grandma Doris, she was born Doris Wood, and I'll talk. There's going to be a lot about her, and hopefully we will have her on the show in the
Oh, yeah.
future. Because, for example, a good reason to talk to your relatives while you still can. My 97-year-old grandma. A few years ago, I sat down with her, and I have a recording of her somewhere. I said, basically, it's on my other Apple iCloud account,
Yeah.
and it's on a voice memo, and I need to log out of my phone and log into my old account to get the voice memos to populate so that I can send it
Mm-hmm.
to myself. So I'm going to do that. But she told me this story, several stories, but I'm not going to give them away now because they're for future episodes.
Oh,
But
yeah.
a general example of this is I was only able to find, you know, I found the names of my great great grandparents and their kids. And I found that they had two kids that each died at a year old at separate
Mm.
times. No information about how, no newspaper articles. I went down to the county newspaper to the year and the month of these deaths, and there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing.
Nothing.
But
That's
my
wild.
grandma, but my grandma knows how both of them died, and she told me. And so I know how they died. And I have goosebumps all over my body right now because that is something. Their deaths
Mm-hmm.
would have been lost to time. And there are
Mhm.
many that are lost to time. But
Yep.
that's why I'm using Ancestry. I'm using, as many free databases as I can. I'm about to bust out some library access when I go
Yeah,
home,
dude.
like going to these places, going to the county registrar's office and asking to access records because some things are not scanned in digitally. So
Mhm.
there might be a newspaper somewhere out there that says Angelina Wood, cause of death, this is what happened.
Mhm.
Just like there's an article for Norman Franklin, which you will learn about, which kind of, you know, it's just, it's a great thing to do for our ancestors, but it also is a way for us to learn while they're still here. The ones that are
100%.
still here.
And I feel like too for us, because I mean, life happens and shit. It's also like a good way to have therapy and deal with trauma. I mean, I feel like us being able to talk about stuff, because eventually we're going to talk about hard stuff. We're going to talk about things that might make some people uncomfortable, but it's things that need to be talked about. And I feel like us being showing that we can talk about it so freely and so openly will hopefully inspire those that feel alone or feel like they can't to either do the same or know that there's other people out there that have gone through things.
Yeah, exactly. Is there anything that you want to add or share before we close our first chaotic episode?
I mean, not really, man, other than, never stop asking yourself, who are you? Like, you're
Who?
constantly evolving as a person, dude. Like, the journey never ends. So, constantly keep asking yourself, who are you?
Yeah, who are we? It's a good question. Well, thanks for listening.
And never stop asking yourself,
Who
who
are
are
you?
you? Who are
Oh
you?
God,